Hey, thanks for joining us on this lesson on how to make fast, quick, clean chord changes. One of the first challenges that you run across as a learning guitarist is this concept of moving between chords and getting that fast enough. It's tricky. And so that's often one of the biggest hurdles that learning guitarists run up against is how to move between chords fast enough and how to get them accurately. So we're going to talk about some concepts that go along with that. So here's some things to think about as you're going through learning a couple of chords. So here's some big ideas. I have written down a couple of things here. The first thing is you want to know the chord shapes that you're going to. Let me refer to you down in the YouTube description down there. I have a little link to the chords that you need to know. These are 4 sheets that we've long since used for the chords that I use on a daily basis as a professional guitarist here in Nashville, and that you need to know. We did a whole YouTube series on this, the chords that you need to know. If you download that YouTube link right there, that'll get you to the pages that have them on there. If you're unfamiliar with some of the chords, we're just going to do some basic chords just to get us started off with. If you really want some chord work on that, then check out the playlist that we have in our YouTube channel for chords that you need to know. And that will guide you through. We did a whole bunch of workshops and everything on that. All right, so let's talk about that. The first thing that you need to know is you need to memorize these chord forms. I know it's quite a few of them, but let's just kind of focus down on, don't focus on, let's just kind of get down to just a couple of chords. If you want to try and really learn these, the first thing out of the gate is you need to know the chord that you're trying to get to. And you need to memorize that. I need to see where those fingers are. I need to know on a G chord where my fingers are landing. The 3rd finger's on the 6th string, the 2nd finger's on the 5th string. Open, 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 then pinky's on the last string, 3rd fret. Kind of see in your mind's eye, visualize what that chord is as you're going to it. A C, what is a C chord? Well, my 3rd finger's on the 5th string, my 2nd finger's on the 4th string, and so on. Now, we're doing basic chords here, but it's the same thing if you're doing an advanced chord. Let's say a C minor 11th, or let's say an F7 flat 9, B flat major 7th. All these chords, some of them, whatever the challenge is for you at the moment, you got to know what you're trying to jump to. Okay, so you need to learn, memorize these chord shapes and have them visualized in your mind. Not where you have to kind of always be referring back to a chord sheet, but you need to really internalize them. That's the first big idea. You can't jump between chords fast enough if you don't know the chords that you're actually jumping to. Second big idea is as I'm changing between chords, you want to form the chord not as individual fingers. When we just start, we kind of go, and we start forming the chord as individual fingers. Oh, an A minor would be like this. And we put the fingers down individually. What you want to do is you want to put down the chord as a shape. Here's a C, here's an A minor. So I'm landing all of the fingers as a shape. Here's a D minor. I'm not going finger, finger, finger. I'm landing them all as a shape. Think of chords as shapes of fingers on the strings. Visualize it in your mind. Think about it in your mind. See that chord, how that is, what it looks like on your fingers in your hand, and then you can jump to it. So, and when you jump, you don't jump finger, finger, finger. You jump as a picture, as a solid shape. So as my hand is coming up to it, I'm starting to form the chord and get where I need to go. So even as my hand is reaching for it, I'm already starting to go into the shape of the chord that I want to. So that's the second big idea. Chords, when they land on the fretboard, are landed as a shape, not as each individual finger landing at different times. You want all the fingers to land at the same time. That's a big concept that'll help you as you change your chords and getting that to be quickly. Here's the third thing. Not only are you forming the chords as a shape, you are forming them before you get to the fretboard. So even as I'm on my way to the fretboard, my fingers are already starting to look like a C, or starting to look like an A seventh, or starting to look like a D suspended. Okay, so there, as your hand is moving, it's putting the shape of the next chord. So you don't wait to change. I'm not saying this as clearly as I would like to. You don't wait to form the chord. As your hand is coming to it, it's already moving to that shape. So those are some 3 big ideas. The first one is you got to know what you're trying to jump to. You got to know them in your head. I need to be able to see that chord shape, and I also need to know it underneath my fingers. I need to land that chord as a shape, not as individual fingers. I need to, as I'm on my way to it, be moving into that shape. So as I'm switching between chords, my hand is already going to these various shapes. All right, so there's 3 big ideas for you. So for example, if I'm going between a G and a C and a D, even as I'm jumping between these, I'm landing as a picture. And my hands is moving one from the other. All right, we'll be referring to that chords you need to know sheets. Here's some exercises to help you with landing these chords quicker and cleanly as you do it. Form the chord. Here's an exercise. Take whatever chord you're trying to solve. Let's say I'm trying to learn a G, a regular G. Okay. So here's an exercise you can try. You form the chord on the fingerboard. Okay. So I've got it here, and then I'm going to release it and take my fingers off just a little bit, and then I'm going to put them back on. Okay. Where are we trying to go? We're trying to go where your hand is able to form these chords quickly. So, little baby steps to get us there. We're going to take the chord and then lift it off just about a ½ an inch and then put it back down. So I'm lifting it off, I'm staying in the shape, and then just lifting it off. Okay, the next step after that is I'm going to form the chord, and then I'm going to come down here, just a little exercise. I'm going to touch my leg, okay? And then I'm going to come back and form the chord again. So now I've completely taken my hand off, and I've got to reset my hand for this. So once you've got where you're supposed to go, and I can take it off and on, then try and touch your leg in between. Back and forth. Now, let's talk about looking. You can look when you need to, but ideally you want to try and wean yourself off of looking. Are you going to make a few mistakes when you're just trying it? Yes. But you'll find that your hand actually does pretty good without looking. So where we're going is we don't want to have to always be looking. That it will eventually slow us down. So in forming these chords, form it, come down, touch your leg, and then form it again. Let's say if I'm going between 2 chords, let's say I'm going between a G and an A, or a G and an E minor. So I form the G, come down, touch my leg, and then I form the E minor. As a picture, as a unit, it's already forming as I come to it, and do that. So if I've got a particularly tricky chord change that I'm trying to go in between, this is how you conquer it. Okay, I've been playing guitar way too long. This is how you conquer that thing, is you've got to know what shape you're going for, and you need to start being able to where you can get to that without looking at your hand. Okay? That's the first exercise. Find whatever chord that you're working on. Let's say it's maybe a C major 7th. Raise it up, put it back down. Raise it up, put it back down. Maybe raise it up completely where you have to reset it, then reset it as a picture. Maybe still keeping the thumb back there. Maybe then go down, touch your leg, come back up, and see if you can form it as a picture. Now you're going to be bad at this at first, just like with anything. You're going to be lousy at it at first, and then you get better at it the more that you do it. So that's the first little exercise. If you're working on a new chord, and don't try and tackle 17 chords. tackle bite-sized little pieces. Just say, this week I'm going to try and learn this chord and this chord and this chord, maybe 3 chords. And this is how you do that, okay? So that's one exercise. Here's another exercise. I'm going to give you 4 steps to forming chords between chord progressions quickly and accurately, okay? Here's the, first, just grab 2 chords. Don't try and jump between 6 different chords. Try and jump between 2 chords. And we're going to practice a particular jump in between that. Let's say, let's go between an E and maybe a B7. That's a tricky one. Okay, so let's say I'm going to work on that. There's 4 steps to get you there, okay? I'm going to have my metronome here, and I'm going to set my metronome to pretty slow. Okay, just got a regular simple metronome here. You can get a metronome on your app on your phone as well. Okay, so it's clicking pretty slowly there. What am I at? 69. And I'm going to play the first chord. I'm going to hold it for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm not playing it 4 times, I'm just doing it once. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to go to the next chord, B7. So I have plenty of time. The main thing is you want to land when you're supposed to land. So if I need to leave that E early in order to get to the B7th at the right time, that's what I need to do. Then 2, 3, reset. 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4. It's a simple exercise. You're going between one and the other. That's step 1, okay? Go back and forth between those at a nice slow tempo, trying to be accurate. You're aiming for accuracy. What's step 2? Now I'm going to play the first chord for 3 beats and back and forth. So now there's a little bit less time. So I have my metronome. Instead of 4 beats, I'm going to do 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Now, if that's too fast for you, then make it 8 beats, and you slowly start to take away beats as you're going through it. Okay, that's how you get this, and it doesn't happen if you do it for 5 minutes. It happens over the course of a week that you'll get better at finding these chords. Okay, so that's a simple exercise you can do. That's step 1. Kind of go use 4 beats in between. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I can do 3 beats, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I could do 2 beats. What if we do step 3? I'm going to play the first chord 2 times. You have 2 beats of rest, and then I go back to the B. 1, 2, rest, rest. Rest, rest. So ever so slightly, we are speeding up how you're going between these chords. There you go. What's step 4? Play the first chord 3 times, then you get 1 beat of rest. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. That's a 4-step little game that you can play if you're trying to work on chords and getting them in between to change faster and accurately. Okay, so there's a couple of exercises there. And then you can gradually speed up the metronome as you're working between it, and find a different pair of chords and go from there. Another exercise that Justin Sanderco talks about, he talks about the 1-minute chord change. So you grab your phone and you have your timer there, and you're going to go for 1 minute. And this concept is you're taking the chord and you're switching between 2 chords. Let's say our E and our B7. How many times can I switch between them accurately? Don't be sloppy. Accurately in 60 seconds, in 1 minute. And if it's really slow, you'll be moving like that. But the game is you want to land them accurately as a picture and switch accurately to where you're landing the chord and you're not missing a few notes in there. A good way to tell if you have them all is to strum slowly. rather than just going. Strum it slowly so you can hear it all. That's another way. And then you gradually reduce your time. So you start out doing a minute and see how many you can do. Let's say I could do maybe 30 chord jumping between two chords in 1 minute, and you'll gradually see that number rise over the course of a couple of days. Okay. Another idea is to use anchor fingers. So here's another concept for you. Let's say I'm going between a C and an A minor. Well, if I look at those two forms, which gets us back to our big idea at the beginning, you need to know the forms that you're going to, I can see that my first finger is in both shapes. There's the C, there's the A minor. So I don't even really need to move my first finger at all between those chords. I can just leave him there, kind of as an anchor, and use the other fingers to move around that. So another way to do it is to look at two chords that you're changing in between and find if there is a common note that could be served as an anchor point. Keep that finger down and let the other fingers move around it. Now some chords you're not going to have it, like a G and a C. Everything is moving between those two. But occasionally you're going to find some where they overlap and you can leave fingers down, and that's going to help keep your hand in position when you need to change. So let's say I got a little bit of a different type of progression. Let's say I'm going between maybe a G5 and then I'm going to go to what, an E minor 7th maybe, to a C2, to a D suspended. Each one of those chords has my pinky on that high C. In fact, on those particular shapes, it has my third finger, D. He's the same on all four of those shapes as well. So I can just leave those two down. So another concept when you're changing chords is this concept of anchor notes and anchor points that your fingers that are common between two different chords, you can keep them in place and move the other fingers around them. So those are some ideas for how to switch between chords faster. It doesn't happen by just watching a video on it. It happens by doing it. So it's the doing of the thing that actually gets the progress. So I would encourage you, if you find a couple of chords that you are slow but working between, first of all, make sure you know where you're going. I know the fingerings for that chord that I'm going to. Think about it, being able to draw it out to where I have to memorize the chord. I have to know where I'm going or I'm never going to get there. Sometimes I'm slow between chords because I just don't know the chord well enough that I'm trying to jump to, and I can't get my fingers to do that. Let me also mention one thing about getting your fingers to cooperate. We did a fretboard workout series a while back on speed and agility. A lot of times what we are wrestling with is dexterity issues. And so that is a great little physical workout. I take you through 3 different workouts to get your fingers and picking cooperating together. These are the best exercises that I have found for that. So the link for the fretboard workout series on speed and agility is down below. That I'll take you through the exercises, and then I physically walk you through 3 different workouts to get your playing up to where you can pick at 16th notes at 120 beats per minute. So it is a great workout to get your fingers moving where you need to go. So those are some thoughts on getting your fingers to quickly move between chord changes. I hope those are some help to you. Check out the fretboard workout series on speed and agility. That's going to help you as well. Also, make sure and download those chord sheets to where you can learn the chords that you need to. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Keep up the great work in your learning, and we will see you next time.